We are back, and President Obama is saying that with just about a year and a half left in his second term, he is ready to take more chances as president. Maybe a sign of his looser attitude. He sang Amazing Grace as part of the eulogy for Reverend Clementa Pinckney at his funeral, which was just an extremely moving service and moment. So we want to play some of that for you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Let's bring in our panel. Basil Smikle Jr. is a contributor for The Hill and executive director of the New York State Democratic Party. Deneen Borelli is a chief political correspondent for Conservative Review and a Fox News contributor. Deneen, I want to start with you. What was your reaction to that moment?
I think my reaction is mixed. On the one hand, he spoke glowingly about Reverend Pinckney, absolutely. On the other hand, I think President Obama politicized this situation because he made references to racism in a way that I really don't think was necessary. He mentioned voting. People won't be able to vote, and I'm paraphrasing. He also talked about the Confederate flag, which I really don't think he really had to go there. And again, there are different perspectives and views about the Confederate flag. The flag did not cause this awful, God-horrific tragedy, but I think he made it more political instead of staying to why he was there and to really comfort the family, the community, and to stick on point in terms of this being a eulogy and not to politicize.
I couldn't disagree with Deneen more. I mean, this was an appropriate venue to talk about race in the way that he did. We take away the singing in many ways, and it is an important and interesting takeaway, but he also talked about the black church being the soul of the black community. He has not sort of leaned into these discussions about race, I think, for the majority of his presidency, but to see him do it there, and the fact that the Reverend's casket was being taken past the Confederate flag, which was still in the air at that point, I mean, it's just an incredibly telling sign that, or symbol, that you have this flag which so many people associate with race and hatred being flown, while a man who's the victim of this terrorism is his casket's being pushed through.
I mean, it was a pretty amazing ceremony, and I felt overwhelmingly the biggest takeaway came from the people of that church. You could just feel the incredible energy and their faith, and how their religion and their faith was really pulling them through in this moment. And it almost felt to me like the president was riding on that with them, that they were supporting, you know, kind of the main emotion and the backbone of that day. And perhaps it was too political, perhaps it was not, as you both say. What does this indicate? What is the president? What signal is he sending in saying that he feels more free now as president for the next 18 months of his presidency? Here is a statement from the interview that he did about a week ago, I believe. Let's listen to this.
I know what I'm doing, and I'm fearless.
For real. You're not pretending to be fearless.
You're not pretending to be fearless.
That's exactly right.
And when you get to that point...
Freedom.
And also, part of that fearlessness is because you've screwed up enough times.
Sure.
That you know that...
It's all happened.
It's all happened. I've been through this.
Right.
I've screwed up.
Right.
I've been in the barrel, tumbling down Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And you know, I emerged and I lived. And that's always that's such a liberating feeling.
Deneen?
Yeah, he also said our country is not cured of racism, and that racism is in our DNA, which I find absolutely outrageous. Yes, there are individuals who are going to be racist, but it's not blanket across the country. I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement for him to make. I think he's going to ramp up being aggressive, especially when it comes to race. When you're given the fact that we have the 2016 election coming up, I think he's trying to make this very emotional, especially to keep black voters focused on racial attention in our country instead of focusing on where we've come from many, many years ago when it comes to race.
Well, he's not focusing our attention on race so much as the fact that police officers are focused our attention on race because of the killings in our community. The fact that the fact that there's a terrorist attack in a black church in Charleston, that's what's focusing our attention on race. And I think the fact that the president is saying that he is fearless is an important message that he's sending, which is that, hey, look, I tried to play it sort of this way.
So what is he going to do? What is he going to do?
I tried to sort of sit on the fence, but now I have to be more aggressive to get my agenda through. You saw that with Cuba. You've seen that with trade, which Republicans did like, and you're seeing it with other issues as well.
Deneen brings up, Basil, do you believe that we live in a racist country?
Yes, I think absolutely. I think we've gotten better.
The whole country is racist.
I think our institutions have race problems. Absolutely. There's racism in our country.
But
I can't run away from that.
I can't run away from that. Progress that our country has made, Basil.
We've made a tremendous amount of progress.
So you're feeding into this rhetoric.
But let's think about the fact that
he also partnered with Al Sharpton, who is a known race baiter. That man's got a revolving door at the White House.
We keep talking about Al Sharpton. Look,
because he's a troublemaker.
Our country has a problem with race. We're getting better, but it's still there.
I'm up against a hard break. I wish I wasn't. Thank you very much, you guys.
Thanks.
Good to have you both here today.